Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Start a minute early, I guess. What the heck? So, welcome to the U.S. Jobs Report, the Canada Jobs Report. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. And let's get started. Good morning, everyone. So this is the 8:30 news that we're looking at. That's the 8:30 news. Now, I mean, it looks like a lot of news. It's not so much a lot of news as there are a lot of elements that make up a jobs report. So if you have Canada and the US doing jobs at the same time, it looks like there's a monstrous amount of news. But it's normal for Jobs Friday when Canada and the US release at the same time. So I want to show everyone. Now, I'm not trading the gold open this morning. I'm not even watching it because Jobs Friday just takes precedence. And we have two events at 8:30. Either one could be tradable. Let me just get my recording fixed. Hang on one second. All right, so a couple of things. I want to thank everyone who's watching us on the YouTube stream. If you hit the like button and sign up for our channel, you'll know the next time we're screaming, next time we're streaming. So we've got a couple of different things going on. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be a tradable gold open. I'm just saying it's incredibly distracting with a jobs report coming up. So, and the jobs report's one of the most important reports that we have. And I just want to talk about it a little bit and explain what I would do with this report. First, look at the DMM. I mean, the daily market mover. Let's look at it. Five out of six losers with gold. I can't recommend trading gold, right? Five out of six losers. Uh, the ES range, okay? We've tested it, we've traded it a couple of times. I think all of our setups are very problematic right now. The bond setup worked last month, but it hasn't been working for months, okay? So would I trade the bond setup? I would probably, if I was a member, I would probably watch this report today. Never in the history of our company have we said that you probably should sit the report out. But because of the way it's been trading and because of the way it's been taking money from accounts, I just can't recommend the setups. I'm not willing. I tested the ES range and I don't like the way it trades. I know Chantal would probably argue with me somewhat because she did the testing. But I don't like, now she tests differently than I test. She'll test and then I will run replays, and it's different from the type of testing that she runs. And I've been doing this for many, many, many years. When I have lots of problems getting good fills in replay, getting errors in replay because of the way the markets are responding, it just creates a warning sign for me to be extremely careful on the report with the testing. Um, the range trade for the ES has worked a few times. It hasn't worked at other times. It's not perfect. Um, I would not trade my family's money on this report today. All right, that's the U.S. jobs report. Ultimately, I would have loved if gold were trading better because the moves are fantastic. But look, it's had a whipsaw 5 out of 6 months, 5 out of 6 whipsaws. So there's just no reason to think that we're going to get treated better today. You might get you might get a good reaction. It's possible, but it's had so many poor reactions that I just think it's, you have to decide, do you want to spend money on a report that hasn't been paying us? So I have a crazy setup that I've been testing that I'm willing to try with one contract. I've got a 50 tick bracket on the NQ. And in my testing, it worked 5 out of the last 6 trades. One of them was very, very slow. In other words, the market barely moved until about a minute and a half after. One of them was a stop out. So I'm just curious if there's a way to trade this report with a big bracket so I don't get filled in the initial move and catch, or if I do get filled in the initial move, it's after it's moved significantly in one direction and keeps going. So I'm going to try my very crazy NQ setup. And the setup I'm using is a bracket of 50, one position, with a target of 70, with a stop of 59, and it's a breakout trade. If the market moves 50 ticks, my stop's going to move to break even plus 30. So if the market moves in my direction, the stop will move to break even plus 30 if it moves more than 50 ticks. So I don't really have to manage the trade instantly. I should be able to let it trade. If it doesn't work, obviously you get stopped. But if it starts working and it moves in my direction and it moves 50 ticks in my direction, then the stop will automatically move to break even plus 30 ticks. So I'll try to protect 30 ticks of profit if it reverses. So that's my crazy breakout that I've been testing, and tests are quite interesting. So a couple of things that could happen. You might not get filled. And if you don't get filled, that's okay, because we're on a report right now that hasn't been working very well. So if I don't get filled, I'm okay with that. All right. It's not the end of the world. So my entry time, and let me make sure I have that correct, is 829.58. Bracket of 50, just one position with a 70 tick profit. You could use MNQ, and I wouldn't make it a smaller bracket. You could try MNQ. I don't think you want to have a smaller bracket because you don't want to be filled in a whipsaw. the idea is to avoid a whipsaw. Now, if there's a 70 tick whipsaw, it's just going to stop me out. It's just not going to work. But so I would not shrink the bracket. I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather not get filled. I'd rather not get filled. So that's the entry time is 8:29:58. And like I said, just one position, 59 tick stop. And that's my NQ setup. And it tests pretty interesting. It really does. So let's see if anything comes of it. Then we have, I have a second trade, an NQ scalp setup that very honestly, I don't like trading after the jobs report. As a general rule, it is very volatile after the report, but I just want to have something available if the news is horrible or phenomenal, then there might be a pretty tradable trend after the report. So I just created an NQ scalp. Using the squeeze play as the setup. So in other words, using buttons. I'm not going to automatically enter under any circumstances. So I've got two positions and I'm using targets of 15 and 50 with a stop of 30. And if my first target gets hit, my stop will move to break even -5. And it's just a scalp trade that the odds of me taking it are probably small. If I had a million charts that I could, if I had a lot, if I was home in my office by myself, I would probably look more for a gold trade after the news. But because of streaming limitations and showing two charts, I just wanted to set up an NQ trade. So I have the chart up already. But gold is also an instrument that tends to do quite well after the jobs report. I'm just resaving my after the news if I can find it. Yeah, my scalp after the news. So that's my scalp after the news. Two positions looking for 15 and 50 ticks on the NQ using the squeeze play. And I'm only interested, it'll depend on, is there a trend? What's going on after the news? Okay. Lorenzo, I do want to tell you very honestly, this is a super high risk setup, completely untested. Testing the NQ in sim on a jobs report is almost impossible. Ask Chantal. It's really hard to get accurate testing. So I just want you to know that, okay? If you're going to trade it. Now, the other side of the coin is Canada. The Canadian trade, when Canada trades with the US, and I'm going to keep my news off to the side. When Canada trades with the US, no, there is not, Darren. When Canada trades with the US, it trades well. So here's the Canada setup that I'm using. You should change the targets. Don't use the exact same targets, please. Let me show you. Let me put up a sheet. It'll make it easier. So depending on how you like to trade, Canada is 6C922. current contract, breakout trade. I'm using a bracket of I'm using a bracket of 9 this morning, and I'll keep an eye on Canada. It seems like things are a little bit manageable this morning. It's a little quiet. A bracket of 9 to 10 is what I'd say. Okay. The stop is 15. The entry time is 8:30. And if you want to use two targets, you could use a target of 9 and 23 if you use two targets. If you use three, you could do something like 7, 16, and 27, something like that. No trap on this one, Chantal. It may work with a trap, but it didn't work 2 months ago with a trap. And as out of all of the Canada trades, it's one of the more difficult for the trap. But that's actually one of my jobs for you. No joke. I'll talk to you about it later. But it's been working as a breakout. So a bracket at 10, and I'm using 9 today because it's been a little calmer. 8:30 entry targets. You could do something like 8 and 25 is reasonable if you trade two contracts. And if you want to trade three, you could do something like 7, 16, and 27. Canada tends to have slippage. So that's the biggest enemy of a Canadian trade would be slippage. And that's my Canada trade. So gold, now I don't need to have my trades on at this instant. I did create an extra chart, I thought. Did I? Yeah. This is the gold chart. I created a gold chart. I figured people would probably want to watch the gold open. See, I don't want to be stuck in a gold open trade and then have it get in the way of the other two trades. So it's just a decision I made. So here is, bear with me 1 second. So I will close out the trade if it doesn't take place very quickly, because like I said, I just don't want to be distracted by it. So we use our indicator as usual, the tick strike. And I'm going to load my template. Load, gold open. And the setup with one contract on full size gold would be one position for a 22 tick target with a 23 tick stop. And if the market moves 8 ticks, stop moves to break even +1. Now, bear with me. I have to fix a couple of things, so hang on. If I miss gold, that's life. I'm just fixing my Canada trade and a separate other trade. I'll make it. Okay. So here's my gold open. Now, gold is in the middle. It's not at a high, it's not at a low. Sometimes what we see on a jobs report day is we just don't get a big move on the open. It happens. Sometimes you do. It's one of those things where if the jobs report was the US was the only report, then I might consider doing the gold open. Although the truth is, you're probably going to get a much bigger move after the jobs report on gold than you are going to get from the open. That would be a more normal expectation. So the open is at 820. And if there's a signal after 820, I'd take that short. Now, I should not have taken that. I would not take that. So I made a mistake. I'm saying it right now. The candle was green, and that should not have been taken. Should not have been taken. Candle was green. So look, it goes in my favor. It goes in my favor. I might get out of this trade because I entered it incorrectly. So I'm moving my stop to safety because I don't believe that I entered that trade properly, and I would exit that trade. That was not a proper signal to take. The candle was green on a short signal. All right. So I'm going to leave the gold open alone right now. I want to concentrate on the other trades. So you did have an opportunity to get out if you did what I did, if you moved yourself out quickly, if you took it. Okay. So why should I not have taken that? It was a valid signal, but the candle was the wrong color. And just because I'm so used to doing this and doing it quickly, I just hit that button without looking at without looking properly at the color. But I saw it obviously in the corner of my eye. So what we've got the Canada job report. Okay, Canada job report. Let's check our time sync. Bought into weakness, yes. Bought into weakness. Hang on a second. I'm going to check my time by going to the website time.is. Okay, and my time is in sync. So I don't know what's going to happen here this morning. I've got to be honest. I have no idea. I'm anticipating we should get a decent move out of Canada. The move will be good. What we're looking for is not a lot of slippage. It's an 8:30 entry. Targets of 7, 16, and 25 is what I'm using with a stop of 15. And it's a breakout trade on Canada. That's my Canada trade. And then my US jobs report, because the report hasn't been working, I'm testing an NQ. Nope, Calvin, I don't know if you got here late or what. I'm not recommending people really trade this report, to be honest. The US jobs report has not been working. So I'm not recommending that people trade it. I'm trading a test that I've been doing on the NQ50 tick breakout, because that's what we do. Sometimes we trade live here to test the setup. If this works, it very possibly might continue to work. So it's an 829.58 entry is what I'm testing with a 50 tick bracket, a 70 tick target. And if the market goes 50 ticks in my direction, if the market moves 50 ticks, I'll move my stop automatically to break even plus 30. So that's what I'm testing on the non-farm payrolls, NFP. Now, that is a very good point that Chantal makes. Canada might be very difficult if you're on a valuation with Apex, because it's a breakout trade with a small bracket. Chantal has had experience where in funding accounts, you can't always trade our traditional brackets. They don't work properly. So Chantal, I don't know if you have time to type in, what the issue is. Evaluation accounts, to be clear. Okay? There is a difference. There's a difference in the way their account works from our account, for instance. So there's a lot of folks watching us on YouTube. We'd love it if you hit the like button. Hit the like button. So Canada, what I think I'll do on Canada, you know what? I'm just going to leave it alone. Lidl's having a flash sale, $8. Okay. I think that we are taking part in a webinar in August this month that's being hosted by Apex. That's what I've been hearing. I mean, these evaluation accounts are incredibly popular. Very, very popular. All right, so there's only about 3.5 minutes to go. So I'll repeat it again. I don't recommend trading the DMM on the US jobs report until we actually find a setup that we're super happy with. So it is a shame. I mean, we went and look, every report goes through periods where they don't work. It happens to almost all the reports. So Canada, we're using a 9 to 10 tick bracket on a breakout with two positions, targets of 8 and 22, for instance, with a stop of 15 and an entry at 8:30 on the breakout trade. Now, what's the news going to be? It's expected, right? They are expecting that the US jobs news will be worse. In other words, they're expecting less jobs to be created, right? Because of the rate increases, etc. But it's just an unknown how the market will respond. You just don't know how the market will respond, even if the news is as expected. Was it really necessary for Nancy Pelosi to create an international crisis? I don't know. I'm just wondering if this was the best time to create an international crisis with China. So no idea if a 50 tick bracket's going to work on the NQ. So I have about 20 seconds. All right. So Canada hit all my targets. My bracket worked. Everything worked. I can't believe this. Holy crow. Everything works. Let me just relax for a second. My heart's in my throat. I'm turning off my Canada job report. Chantal, that's why I did not want to use a trap trade. We will review this with the video in a minute. In a minute. The news is probably negative, obviously. The NQ has sold off monstrously. Now, I'm not taking an after the news trade, but certainly, you could see there might be an opportunity here. I'm just going to watch the market for a second. I'll show you the news. I'm very happy with the testing that I did. It's pretty amazing. I would bet some people are still trading, so I'm just going to chill for a minute. Let's chill for a minute. Now, what's interesting, the Canadian news was very, very negative. The US news was unbelievably positive. So, why are they reacting so horribly to a really good, what would traditionally be a really good jobs report? I mean, this was an amazing jobs report if you look at it in the traditional sense. Double the amount of jobs were created. Canada, 50,000 jobs wrong to the downside. So it's no surprise that Canada exploded to the downside. But the US, I'm not listening to the news, and I'm a little surprised. You've got to think that the market's responding because it must think that this is inflationary news. I just can't think of any other reason why such a fantastic jobs report would be considered horrible. Now, so Dutchy, gold worked. So look, anybody that traded gold, okay, I'm done trading, all right? Every one of my trades worked. I tested the NQ with a 50 tick bracket. We'll look at that trade in a minute. Canada hit the targets. You didn't really have to do anything to the trade. Okay. Why are the numbers fake, Calvin? Why are the numbers fake? The numbers aren't fake. The numbers are the numbers. I mean, that's like saying every jobs report is fake. I mean, I don't buy that. The numbers aren't fake. They're not fake. I don't agree. I mean, if you can't believe in these reports, if you're so jaded, now, Calvin, I'm not saying you are, but if you're so jaded that you can't believe anything anymore, why, I don't know I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But I have faith that when the ISM report comes out, the numbers are correct. I have faith when the jobs report comes out, the numbers are correct. But Dutchy, I wanted to talk about, Calvin, let's argue in a minute. Let's argue in a minute. They're comparing today versus COVID. First off, I want to thank everybody who's watching us on YouTube. So thank you very much for watching us on YouTube. You should take advantage and join our trade room. We will send an email giving you instructions on how you could join with us, okay? But thank you very much for watching, and I have to say goodbye to everyone on YouTube. Chantal, if you'd be kind enough, if you hit the like button before you leave and sign up for our channel, that would be very nice. So thanks for watching this stream.